Welcome back everyone to the Collector Channel. Today we'll be checking out 3 different Babe Ruth cards. Looking at these, they appear to be the same card, but they are actually not. They're 3 different cards that share a lot of similarities, but some differences also. We will look at each one of them today. First, we'll check out the 1922 E120 American Caramel Babe Ruth card. This is graded by PSA, given a 3 grade. For this and pretty much all of Babe Ruth's 1920s cards, a 3, a 4, and a 5 is considered high grade, really, because there's just so very few, if any, 7s, 8s, or 9s in these types of cards. So if you get like a 3, 4, or 5, that's considered really high grade. This is one of my favorite Babe Ruth cards. I just like the image. The background, just the look of it is really cool. It's an American Caramel card. It's early in his career, and his Yankees career especially, being in 1922. So just all around an awesome card. And in my opinion, a undervalued card at the moment. We'll see what happens in the future, but just a really cool card. I like the back of it too, how it says New York Americans and then Yankees, lists the players on the team, and at the bottom it says American Caramel Company, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and York, Pennsylvania. So just a really cool back to it. So if you're a back collector, a card back collector, or Yankees collector, Babe Ruth collector, vintage collector, whatever it may be, this is an awesome card to have. I really like the back to it. There is some light creasing and wrinkling to it. Centering is pretty good overall. It's a little bit off, but not bad. I've seen much worse. Corners are slightly rounded and kind of worn how you would expect them to be on a card like this. Next, we'll check out the Nielsen's Chocolate 1922 Babe Ruth. This is a Canadian issue. This is a Type 1. There's a Type 1 and a Type 2. The Type 1 looks very similar to a Type 2. And let's first start with the differences, though. As you can see, there's a little bit of a different color tint to these. This one's a little bit darker, and this one's a little bit lighter. I've noticed a lot of the Nielsen's too. Pretty much all of them that I've seen have had kind of a glossier look to them. This one doesn't have quite as much, but especially the Type 2, it's really gloss, has some gloss to it. Also, you'll notice there's a card number there, number 37, and people that are type collectors of these cards really get down to the details. They're number 37. This one doesn't have the number, so they're looking for any kind of added detail to collect different Babe Ruth cards that may appear to be the same, but they're really not completely the same. Both of them say Outfield New York Americans. Let's check out the back of this one here. And this is one of the coolest backs on any cards I've seen. I just think it looks so cool. And everyone can take a closer look. It does say 120 photographs in this series. And same with the E120 American Caramel set. So they used the same images for this set as well. Kind of like the ice cream cards in the York Caramel of 1927 and 1928. They reused the images, which was something they did quite a bit in the 1920s. And I'm so glad they did, because it's a lot of fun collecting these different varieties or variations of Babe Ruth. Now let's take a look at the W573 Babe Ruth, again in 1922. So all 3 of these are from 1922. And this one's a little bit lighter than this one, and then that one. So they kind of go from a little bit darker color to lighter to much lighter, almost a white background or white borders to this. I'll just move this one aside here for now, and that one. So this one here doesn't have the number 37 in it. It's more like the American Caramel card front to it, where it just says Babe Ruth, Outfielder New York Americans. But then again, much lighter, does have some printing spots on them. So on the W573 Babe Ruth, I've noticed that the printing quality wasn't quite as good as it was with the American Caramel. And there is a W, so W573. Usually the W means it was a strip card or it was hand cut in some way. This one definitely appears, well, not this example really, but it does appear that they were actually hand cut. Sometimes we found out later that cards that were labeled to W really weren't hand cut, or they really weren't strip cards and they came in packs of candy or whatever it may be.